being LG, and welcome to a nostalgia show, a little reunion of the boys. I've got a crew here. We are doing LGAHL Access. I'm your host, Bryson66, and along with me, I've got some of the old faces that used to run the show with us. You know, we got a week off from We're Gonna Need Time. I had that media itch. I needed to do something media related, or I needed my fix. So I rounded up two of the old gents. How are you guys doing today? I've got Rebel he's on Iowa Wild, and I've got Providence Mate Lad. Garrus, how are you two doing tonight?
Doing good. Thank you for bringing me from Ring Talk.
Bye.
It's good to be back, boys. I'm sure you all miss my beautiful face.
We do.
I do. I miss a lot of things about you, Fi. You are a gem.
Yeah, you've been very quiet this season on Iowa. So
is that a knock on my thumbs and my lack of stick skill, or where are we going with this?
You haven't been vocal at all.
I'm better nor seen nor heard.
I agree with that statement.
You're never seen on the ice, if we're being honest, but that's a long road to run down.
If I'm flashing up on the stats, you know it was a bad game.
Touche. All right, so we're gonna make the show quick. We don't like those long shows. Who does that nowadays, right? Am I right? Anyways, anyone that's ever seen us for the first time, which would be interesting. This is a show where it's a bit of a debate show. It's the first show that Garrus and I started. Fi was one of the OGs as well. We had a bunch of other people come and go and stopped doing it because we felt it was time to move on. So here we are, back for just a week for an episode for everyone. And we start off the show with a little bit of news, talking about what's happened in the league we feel we need to discuss. We go on the lines of the week. We go to the lines of the week. We'll get into that. We have Rebels Corner, which Fi will explain that when we get to that. And then we'll do a top 10 power ranking. And we'll explain how we did them this week, given the circumstances that we're not doing this every week. This is just a once in a season kind of ordeal. So without further ado, let's get into the nitty gritty of the news, gentlemen. First things first, All-Star game. It's over, done with. There seems to be a little controversy behind it. I played in the first game. It was a blast. We all ran Enforcer. Game finished like 8-7 overtime win. And I believe Team Readers won with a final of 2-1, 2 games to 1. I'm not sure how that third game went. I'll be able to look right now. Nope, it was a clean sweep. 3-0 for Team Readers. It was fun. It seemed like everyone had a good time. It's brutal. The beta comes out the day of the All-Star game. Talk about a kick in the ass for that one, trying to get people off that beta.
Man, I only watched the All-Star Draft show. I didn't watch any of the games, but I was looking over the stats, and it's actually pretty funny. The Buck was in the game. I saw a lot of Stockton players, saw a lot of Providence players. I mean, the best players should play. I understand one from every team, but you have 30 teams in the league. It's going to be nearly impossible to get one single person in every single game.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's the thing, you say you want the best player, but at the same time, Buck got it. And do I disagree with that? No. I think Buck, is a pretty committed league member. Good for him. Good for him for getting selected, I think that was cool.
Where is this PC Bryson coming from? Buck from the Ontario Reign makes the All-Star game, and you make a positive case for why that happens? Who am I talking to right now?
Okay, listen. I am reformed, I'm a media head. I set a high example. I have to be this holier than thou. But in all seriousness, as much as
oh, I'm sorry. I'm allergic to bullshit.
That's fair. But no, in all seriousness, he's a horrible manager. I'm not cutting any corners on that one. But I mean, he played pretty good in the All-Star game. He had 13 of 16 saves. Better.
Not a Providence goalie, but who's
a
Providence goalie?
I will say that, and that kind of is a testament to the rosters that you did have. They were they were even enough that the games went the distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like everyone had a good time. I mean, especially the first game. I mean, it was Zachrel, Readers, myself, Dimitri, Weeds, and Tatar. I mean, just the whole time we're just laughing. And it wasn't even anything necessarily funny. I could tell you what exactly happened. You'd probably go, well, that's not really funny, but everyone was laughing, having a good time, so it was nice. So yeah, and like you said, how are you going to get everyone from different teams? You want it to be authentic. People get snubbed. some bad people get in, and that's as authentic as we get. And of course, we're always open for suggestions. We tried something new this season. Go back to the drawing board for next.
We need to have a shitter game where all the worst people in the league get to play against each other.
The real All-Star game?
That's it. the Lost Stars game is what we need.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So,
Rebels life matters.
God.
Hashtag trending right now.
Hashtag trending. Next thing we're gonna get into, just real quick, but it's kind of a big ordeal here, is the good old AHLer now turned CHLer. I guess couldn't hang anymore. Coach Krass was banned for 3-season capital punishment, along with Jonah on the Binghamton Devils. It was due to this is interesting. It was apparently due to he was messaging managers to call up players to make his playoff run easy in the Memorial Cup. I mean, you guys take it away. I don't think I need to say anything else, but go ahead.
Honestly, he got off the hook pretty easy with that him ratting the other people out. I forget what the exact situation was, but he should have been banned a long time ago. He obviously hasn't changed, so I mean, this suits him well.
Since our days in Springfield, Sean, we're always the rules would have to change because he would try and manipulate him, and I just don't understand why can't you just build your team, schedule your games, play your games, and go the hell home? Yeah,
nothing's changed. He should have been banned a long time ago. I'm happy to see him banned. I do respect Jonah. I mean, they were management together, I think, at one point, but for an AHL manager, you got to be stronger than that. Listen, especially a snake like that.
And the problem too is, well, not the problem, but the unfortunate thing is the Devils are a playoff team.
Yeah.
Despite how screwed up the seeding is, and we get into the whole how the 8th place team in the East Atlantic could be close to a playoff spot in the North, whatever. They're still a playoff team. So they're going to be in our what's called the playoffs. It's your best teams. Now they're going to be hurting. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure Brody will post his transparency thread and kind of give a little bit of a more detailed breakdown, but wanted to address that. What do you think of that, Fi? CHL, afraid to play CHLers.
I tell you what, every time I turn the game on, I get really sweaty because I don't want to look like I'm just lost out there. But you want to talk about living for it, where you try and get other people to get out of the league you're playing in to make it easier for you to win. I mean, turn the console off, shut it down, go take a fucking nap, bud. Like, it's not that serious.
Not even go outside, just take a nap, refresh the brain.
It's not that deep.
Give your eyes a few blinks and call it a day.
It's fair. It's fair. Wise words from Rebel. Everyone listen. All right, so we're going to get on with the show here. Next up, we have Lines of the Week. Stick around. Welcome back, as we are here for our first segment. I guess second if you count news as a segment. We're going to have Garrus run through this one solo. He is going to give us the East and West Lines of the Week. He goes through each position for each conference, gives us our best players. Now, however, I will say this is not for the season. This is for last week. So we are currently going into week 8.
Yeah,
so this is
7.
I just want to make sure. So it's going to be week 7's best lineups. Garrus, what do we got? Start with the East.
Spoiler alert, we don't have any Providence players in the East. Shocking, I know. Avoid any bias whatsoever.
Scumbag Bruins.
Yeah, oh god, let's not get into that. But first, from the Albany Devils, or not Albany Devils, but Binghamton Devils. God, they changed their name. We have left wing, actually all-star, Mr. Binks. He went 3-0 in the week, 12 points, 10 goals, and 2 assists. Talk about not using your right trigger much. Plus 10 on the week. He had a 52.6 shooting percentage too. Shoot. Pretty good week by him, only 4 penalty minutes. Moving on, we have a goodie here, former Providence Bruin, center, Charlotte Checkers, Horvat, who ever so loves me dearly about this past season and what I did to him and put him through. He did go 3-0 in the week, 9 points, 3 goals, 6 assists, plus 7. And I mean, barely 50, almost 50% on the draws. Good week by Horvat. Nice to see him continue to be successful. And I don't hate you. You are just imagining things. Anyway, next player that everyone loves so much in the chat box from the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, right wing New Maple Leafs. He did go 3-0 in the week. 13 points, 8 goals, 5 assists, plus 10, 72.7 shooting percentage. Talk about efficiency. He did have a minus 23 giveaway takeaway ratio. 11 shots, 8 goals. That's pretty impressive. Next guy on the list, left defenseman from the Binghamton Devils, C. Silveri. Again, 3-0 in the week. 5 points, all assists, plus 13. And his giveaway takeaway ratio, he had actually a +1, -1, +1 takeaway giveaway ratio. So that's pretty efficient for an offensive defenseman to put numbers up like that. Right defenseman, we're going to talk about New Maple Leafs teammate and All-Star Dimitri. Not to mention his win in the All-Star game as an enforcer D-man. He did go 3-0 in the week, 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, plus 11. And I mean, he did have a -9 giveaway takeaway ratio, but I mean, that's understandable in offensive defense, and just as long as you're winning and not beating teams like Hartford and Bridgeport. I mean, they did beat Lehigh Valley, but 2 playoff teams, especially in division, pretty impressive. So give it up for Dimitri. And last but not least, we have a goalie in the Utica comments, former Bakersfield alum, Mochez 18. I think he gave, I think he was a former AGM, and then I think they traded him away. I don't know if he negotiated his own trade, but he only played 4 games this week, but if you go 4-0, post an 86.5 save percentage, and go have a 1.68 goals against, you're doing pretty well beating teams. I mean, he did beat Binghamton, beat Toronto, and he beat Hershey, and he did beat Lehigh Valley, so he beat some good teams in there, but to go undefeated in the week and have that good of a goals against and save percentage, you're doing something right. And he faced 52 shots in the week, so he's facing over, 12.5 shots a game, 13 shots a game.
You mentioned Lehigh Valley twice there, and almost as a, and we mentioned earlier in the show, like how they could almost be a playoff team, blah, blah. I'm not getting into that. But Lehigh Valley, in all seriousness, every time we played them, they're not a bad team.
Yeah, I think they're just in a good division.
Just got a shitty hand dealt to them. I mean, that's the only thing I could really think of. But, back to what we were saying about the whole Jonah being banned. I mean, they're losing him in a team that had a pretty good week. Mr. Binks, Silver having a good week. That sucks to see a manager go with a team that's hot. And man, Dimitri, a D partner for the ASG. He was a good old D partner, but pretty good East.
All right, so moving on to the West or the West, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite gamer tags from San Diego goals, the old wooden chips or Whale's vagina. Whatever you want to, yeah, Whale's vagina. I don't want to get that reference wrong. I don't want macros coming and correcting me. 1 out of 10. We have Black Paperclip from the San Diego Goals. 3-0 in the week, 9 points, 7 goals, 2 assists, plus 7. He did have 21 shots in the week, so he's really trying to get the puck in the net. -36 giveaway takeaway ratio. But other than that, if you're going 3-0 in the week, I mean, he did beat some teams like Bakersfield, Iowa. But they did beat Texas, and I think Texas is a bubble team. So I mean, go undefeated and especially keep San Diego in the President's Trophy race. You're doing something good. Moving on, we have All-Star Bryson's friend, Frotch V2 from Stockton Heat. You go 0-1 in the All-Star game. Get good. And Nub Basher. 3-0 in the week, 13 points, 4 goals, 9 assists, plus 7. We think it had like a 66.7 face-off percentage on the week. But he had 69 giveaways and 7 takeaways. I mean, if he's a primary source of offense, I mean, yeah, he did beat San Diego, and I think San Jose's been giving everyone problems this week. I mean, they've been giving everyone tight games, and he did beat Ontario 7-1, but he's a huge factor in why Stockton's been winning so many games in a row.
I'm sorry, did you say 69 giveaways in 3 games?
Very nice.
Oh my god.
Very nice. Yeah, wow. That's almost JVR levels of giveaways.
I'm not even
You
mad.
were
I'm
looking at my
impressed.
stats on that one. I think you mixed them up.
I mean, we don't really
Crazy.
have to look at your stats because you're never going to be on lines of the week.
Wow.
Hey, now that 69 was planned. Okay, it's an inside joke.
Okay, moving on for efficiency of the show. Again, we have another Stockton Heat, but he's not playing with Crutch. Another All-Star who's kind of in their TC right now. I don't get it. I think he's still in his TC. Weaves X19. 3-0 in the week, 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists, plus 14. Only a -5 giveaway takeaway ratio. So obviously he's doing something Crutch can't, holding onto the puck. Anyway, we have a defenseman for the Milwaukee Admirals. He's listed as a right D, but he played left D this week. He's 16-4-1 in the season. He's doing pretty well. I think he's friends with buddy Hans. We have Seek O, if I'm saying that correctly. 3-0 in the week, 1 point only, plus 4, -6 giveaway takeaway ratio. But he beat teams like Rockford, San Antonio, and he beat Colorado. And in that Colorado game, I'm not sure which line he played. I'm actually checking now. He did beat Honcho and Swiss he beat an average line, but I mean, as far as that, you're having a good season. Milwaukee, really standout team in their division along with Rockford. Right defenseman from the Tucson Roadrunners, we have Shake and Bake. They're actually doing really well since Zaka quit, thank God. Me and Zaka and Bryson all have a great relationship with one another. Great to see Nachos and Martin turn around that team and really turn it out for the better. They're veteran NHL managers, and I salute them for it. He went 3-0 in the week, 3 points, plus 3, -2 giveaway takeaway ratio, 6 giveaways, 4 takeaways. Beat Grand Rapids, beat Chicago, and he beat San Diego. So all good teams that he beat on the week. Good for you. I mean, he got out of San Antonio while he could, and he had a pretty good week. Last but not least, none of the really West goalies really went undefeated. It's kind of, one almost did, but then they lost to Chicago, kind of given away. But another Stockton Heat. I know we can't get away from Stockton, but if you're winning like 18, 20 games in a row, you're bound to be on this list somehow. We have the Cheetalo 33, if I said that correctly, 5-1 on the season, or not season, on the week, 1.32 goals against, an 83 save percentage, a respectable save percentage. He only faced like 47 shots. So, 8 shots a game. He's playing behind a good defense, but his season stats are remarkable. You have to give it to him. Pretty good week by Cheetalo, and that's our lineups for the entire league for the week. Do you have any submissions or any snubs? You like to point them out, I'll take it into consideration. But these are the players of the week I thought were worthy. So,
I like it. Man, I talked about him on We're Gonna Need Time before. Black Paperclip. Now you will remember, Sean. That is why I'm asking you.
He's on Toronto.
Did he not suck last season?
I think he had a bad season on Toronto, or whatever season he had on Toronto was. Yeah,
had a great season, man. What a turnaround! If we had a comeback award, which would be nice, something to maybe consider. But I feel like he'd probably be winning it this year. Remarkable turnaround.
Yeah, I know this could be a discussion for another show, or like on your other show. That does the AHL deserve to have an award for the Rookie of the Year in the AHL?
It's a good point. I feel bad. I think it could be discussed. Something to look into. We could look into that. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So anyway, we got the Defensive Center Award. So
yeah, that too. Case Lice number 1.
Fine. Any last takes on the lines?
Paperclip's last full season in the AHL, season 28. He went 7-19. At this point this season, he put up 66 points, which isn't bad, and a -36 on a crappy team. He's already double his wins and a fourth of his losses, and he's on pace to shatter his point total, I think, or come close to it. So
right. So yeah, pretty good. So.
Yeah, definitely come back to the player award material if there's an award.
Yeah, and Crotch, no surprise there. Stockton guys always having good seasons. So
yeah, go to the NHL already.
Yeah. I can't. Let's please another topic, please. All right, so let's do it for the lines. Next up, we got Rebels Corner. Don't want to go anywhere. Welcome back. We are here for Rebels Corner. This is Rebel. Before you give us your Rebels, give us a little explanation, a little refresher course of what you do.
Yeah, so for folks who aren't familiar with my segment, we will take a West player and an East player, and whoever had a standout moment or kind of overcame the odds, those type of guys who had a breakout performance against a really good team, we're going to highlight those guys in this segment and let you know, keep a lookout for them in future games. So with that explanation out of the way, let's move on to our Rebels of the Week. It's a little bit of a special. I know it's a nostalgia episode, and it's a little bit of a special thing anyway. But we have an even more special Rebels because we actually have two goalies. I'm gonna highlight this week. Probably nothing you've ever seen before, Bryson. But to start it off, our West Rebel of the Week is actually an ECU. B. Besser, right? Is that pronounced his name? XB Besser X is actually a call-up for the Chicago Wolves against the Stockton Heat this week. And let me tell you, this kid had a game. 20-save shutout. Chicago beat Stockton 2-0 to end that massive winning streak. Very impressive stuff. Took a little quick look at his CHL stats. He's 17-3-3 this year for the Wheat Kings. He's even had an NHL call-up, and he got a 3-2 win for Vancouver in that. Keep a lookout for this kid in the future seasons. Don't let anybody get this guy for $500K. And I don't want to see that in bidding. This guy's definitely got some talent. So shout out to you, B. Besser. Great game. Ended Stockton's crazy run, even with a shutout to top it all off. So that's your West Rebel of the Week. Moving on to the East, I wanted to highlight this guy. Me and him go way back, probably longer than I've been a Vegas fan, which is going on 30 years or so. So Blizzard 72. Blizz, my boy, the Ginger Ninja, had a little bit of a rough start to the season on Bridgeport. Ended up getting dropped down to TC. I think he may even played a little bit in the CHL for a few weeks. That was after 2 weeks in the AHL. Was down and out for about 3 or 4 weeks. Got the call back up in week 6 and has gone 4-2 since his return. I'm happy to see him back in the league. He's posting the 4-2 record. 2.5 goals against this season, 80% save percentage. I mean, really, despite his rough start, and I guess Bridgeport wasn't happy with the performances, he's really not had that bad of a go of it. I'm glad to see him get another shot in the same season, and he's showing up for Springfield, who isn't in a playoff spot right now, is in a very tough division, as you guys will know, and posting a record like that and showing that, no, I can play. I'm happy to see that for my buddy Blizz. So there's your two Rebels of the Week. West was B. Besser, the call-up for Chicago. East is Springfield goaltender Blizz. That's it, bud.
Yeah, you said Besser. I think it's Boser, but apples and oranges. I went and looked up this guy because I thought, I don't even know who you're talking about. Wow, good digging, Rebel. I'll qualify. I mean, those are good stats. I mean, and you pointed out to put Stockton to a halt there, not only to stop him, then you shut him out, and it's 20 saves. Like, that's solid. I mean, there's nothing else to really. I mean, you pretty much hit all the notes on that, but that's crazy. What a game for him. So,
yeah.
All right, so that's Rebels Corner 5. Thank you very much. We are going to move on to the Power Rankings Top 10. Don't want to miss it.
It's about to get heavy!
Welcome back. As I made an obnoxious finish, I'm not going to crop it out. I've changed my mind. I'm keeping it. I acted like an idiot. And we've got the top 10 Power Rankings. You like it? You like it? I watch it. I watch this one YouTube show, and the guy's always like flexing and doing like stuff like this with numbers and shit, like an idiot. It makes me laugh. So, all right, we're gonna do the top 10 Power Rankings. We're gonna alternate on back and forth. That's how we've always done it in the past. We're gonna start from 10, go to 1. This again. So let me recap as to what I mentioned earlier about how it's a little different. We are only doing last week's teams based on how they did last week, not about how they're doing this season, just last week's performances. So, number 10, I'm going to start this off. We have the Chicago Wolves. Chicago, they're in an easy division. However, they're playing really well, and their season's been a little bit of a up and down roller coaster. They started off pretty good, like mediocre, and went really good, down, back up, and now they just capped off a really great week for themselves. They took care of business against the teams they should take care of. The Iowa Wild, the Cleveland Monsters, the Bakersfield, but that Stockton win, man, it almost feels like with this 10th team that elevated them. They're taking care of business in the games they should. The games they lost, 4-2 to Rockford, close one there. 3-2 to Tucson, who was super hot this week, so another close game, and then 8-7 against Colorado. It seems like they need to get that Boiser guy in that game, huh? But pretty good week for Chicago, 6-3. Can't complain. They're sitting nice in the third place in the Western Central, 73 points, 6 points behind first place. We'll see how they do moving forward. I feel like this is going to be this should be a team in the playoffs without a doubt. And I mainly say that because the next team that could contend is Iowa, and well, we know who's on Iowa, so that's where I'm going to end that. Next up, Garrus, who do we have at number 9?
Number 9, we have the San Antonio Rampage, a team that I've held so dearly in my heart as a former manager of the Rampage. Obviously, this Rampage won't be as good as my Rampage, but they did go 6-2-1 the week. They lost 9-2 to San Diego. They lost to Stockton, and they lost to Milwaukee. So 3 games that they can't really be mad at themselves for losing. I mean, they did get the point against Milwaukee. They were in a tight game with Stockton, and then they got their teeth kicked in by San Diego. But they picked up games against Ontario, Iowa, San Jose. I mean, San Jose, like I said, has been giving everyone tough games this week. They did have some key victories against Rockford, Tucson, who has been having a good week or good, comeback. Texas. So I mean, 6-2-1. Provorov. I mean, he did get traits by us, but I mean, I hate to make it Providence, but I'm just truth. But yeah, I mean, good week for Provorov. I know how he feels about this game and season, but 6-2-1 is a pretty good week for especially the trades that you've made. So, gotta give it to him.
All right, number 8. What do we got, Rebel?
Number 8, we got the Charlotte Checkers. A little enunciation there.
Those that get it, I'll be proud of them.
Do what?
Those that remember that, I'll be proud of them.
Yeah.
They're our longtime fans. Go ahead, on with Charlotte.
So Charlotte comes in with 81 points. They're third in the Eastern Atlantic this year. Solid 6-3 week, and their wins this week, as tough as it was in that Eastern Atlantic division with Bridgeport. They play Baby Pins, they play Providence, they play Hershey. Like, all of those teams are either ahead of them or right in tight, and they got the dubs on them. They had, they lost to Springfield. We just talked about with Blizz on the team. I believe he was in that game. They lost to Rochester 4-3, but all their losses were tight 1-point games. And like I said, they had the big wins against the guys in front of them and just behind them. 6-3 week for Charlotte. It looks like they're going to stick around and stay in that playoff division positioning. Very, very solid week in a tough divisional race for Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte has been good all season, and a lot of new faces. I like the team. I like seeing new people do well. It makes the league interesting. So it'll be neat to see what Charlotte does here moving forward. Second through fourth separated by 3 points. Then fifth is 77 points. So starts to drop off a little bit more there. But man, you have no idea what your first round matchups are going to be until probably the season's over. So yeah, it's a good season for Charlotte, or good week for Charlotte. Sorry, rather. Moving on here at number 7, we've got the Milwaukee Admirals. A bit of a surprise team for me personally. I I looked at Milwaukee and thought, no, they're going to be average, but at one point they were leading their division. Now, or they still are leading the division. Excuse me. They weren't in the beginning of the season. Now they are. But overall, very good season from Milwaukee. And man, there are 3 losses this week. I mean, it's Iowa, Manitoba, and Texas. 3 games they got to win. They can't let those easy games go, especially here in the playoff run here. And considering, they're in first place, but you don't want to get that later seed. You want to be first. You want to have the extra home games. That home team definitely matters when you're scheduling lines and having that kind of advantage. So they picked up wins over Ontario, Colorado, Rockford, very big win for them, might I add, 3-2, 6-2 over Grand Rapids, 2-0 over Cleveland, 3-2 over San Antonio. I wanted to rank Milwaukee higher. I couldn't find a reason to do so because, again, a lot of Western Conference teams, their best win with Rockford, losing to some very subpar teams. Milwaukee just didn't play the right opponents this week to rank a little bit higher. But on to number 6, Garris, who do we got?
We have the Utica Comets, the most invincible team in the league now since they have a special player on that team, Brody. Anyway, they did go 6-3 on the week. They did lose against Buttsville. They lost against Springfield. They lost against Laval. So I mean, games they should have won as a division leader. I think they are still. Obviously, the games against Syracuse, Lehigh Valley, games that they've won. Also, you got to factor in they beat Rochester, they beat Binghamton, they beat Hershey, and they beat Toronto. So they beat all tough teams on the week. But I mean, there's some games on the week where they should have won or should have come away with a point at least. But I think it's not a problem for them, especially for them leading the division. So yeah, I mean, just the average 6-3 week. I think a 6-3 week over 2-7. So good week by them. They're going to be a good team come playoffs. I think they might have the easiest path to the conference finals in the East, at least.
In the East, well, yeah, obviously the East, yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know, that West Central is very
very weak. But yeah, as far as the East, Utica probably one of the conference finals favorites.
Mackey's got a good team. They've got a lot of depth at forward. They're going to do some damage. The teams are going to struggle, and I think definitely after this week, we're going to see who the first seed is. Man, maybe even halfway through the week, Toronto took a big dive and kind of got themselves out of that contention for the first seed. So we'll see how next week goes. But yeah, another Utica, the usual business as always for Utica. Moving on to number 5 for 5. Who do we got?
This number 5 team. Let's keep this short and sweet. 6-2 in 1 week. What can we say? They're the probable President's Cup winners. Let's just get that out of the way. Providence Bruins, 6-2 in 1 week. They lost to Hershey, lost to Charlotte. We just spoke about overteam loss against the Baby Pins. I mean, this team is a force to be reckoned with. I don't want to talk too much more about them. Especially in lieu of the fact that the past 3 sentences out of these guys' mouths have been about how weak my Iowa is and our Central Division is. So moving on to number 4.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Less Providence, please. Moving on to number 4 here, we have the won't be stopped, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Garris likes that one.
The only reason why your team is good because no one knew who you picked, and you had a future LG Hall of Famer if they ever induct more people in GB. So
That's right. So Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, man, a team that I mean, not just numbers wise, but in a different division. Who knows? Who knows what this team could have been? It's they're in a tough division. When you play, I mean, it goes for Providence, it goes for Charlotte, Bridgeport, even all the way down to Springfield with 62 points. On every game, you're playing someone that is easily could any of their lines be one of the toughest games you'll play all week. It's not easy. So even more kudos to Wilkes-Barre. So Wilkes-Barre put in a solid week here. They've got a 6-3 week. They lost to Hershey, Charlotte, and Binghamton. Bet they really wish they could play that Charlotte game again. But they picked up wins over Hartford, keeping them back. Bridgeport, another divisional win. Lehigh Valley 9-3. Springfield 4-3. Belleville 3-2. And they ended the week on a big dub over Providence. I mean, they beat some pretty good teams this week, and that's a good sign. I'm sure Laporchkin's happy to see that from these guys. You know, when they can beat good teams like that, means come playoff time, you're gonna have good success.
That's a game I prefer not to talk about.
What game?
The Providence.
Oh, let's not.
Yeah, let's not.
All right, moving on here to number 3. Garrett, who do we have?
We have Tucson Roadrunners. They go 7-2 on the week. Beat San Jose. Beat Cleveland. I mean, who hasn't beat Cleveland? Did they forfeit that game? I think that might be a forfeit. But
I'd be surprised. Lazy's not one to forfeit. He makes sure guys are
there. No, they beat him 1-0. It was just a tight game. They did beat San Diego, so it's a huge win. Obviously, Chicago, Ontario, Bakersfield, Grand Rapids. You got your cupcakes. Did lose to San Antonio, and they did lose to Texas, but 7-2, especially for that team, and in that division, they shouldn't have a problem, moving forward. I mean, they'll probably get sacrificed to Stockton or San Diego like anyone else would, but yeah, good to see them back without Zaka. So,
I think the experience from Nachos and them, I think that's going to help. And I'm not saying they're going to knock off Tucson or San Diego, but I'm definitely going to say that series is going to be better than what people are thinking it's going to be.
Yeah, I hope they wouldn't knock off themselves because you just said that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want them to knock out themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So, good number 3 pick. Good for Tucson. Good week for them. Hopefully they can keep it up and get into the loss here. It's tight there as well. Texas is not Texas. San Antonio is 1 point out of a playoff spot to Texas, and then 2 points from Tucson. So it is tight. It is really tight. So man, we're not going too far. Fi, who do we got at number 2?
Number 2, we got the San Diego Goals. These guys have 92 points, and they're actually leading the division over Stockton, who we've talked about quite a bit. And not to say that these guys are overlooked. I mean, look at their record, look at their points and everything. But we talk about how tightly contested the East is, and we talk about Stockton and their crazy win streak. I think San Diego gets lost in that a little bit, and they had another impressive week at 7-2, only losing to Tucson and Stockton. So of the 2 teams they wanted to lose to this week, probably fair that they lost to those 2, but they probably didn't want to take those 2 losses as tightly contested as it's been. But at number 2 this week, San Diego, 92 points on the season. I don't think we say enough about these guys, but that might be a good thing also.
I'm sure they're happy about that. But yeah, San Diego, completely overlooked so much. Built a great team. They've had a pretty good win streak at one point too. So. All right, moving on to number 1. We're going to finish it out. No surprise to anyone here. It's the Stockton Heat. 8-1 week. What else to say, man? And their only loss came to that Chicago game, ending the streak. A very, very long streak. Impressive. And, I mean, man, Stockton started off mediocre. Now everyone's like, oh, my God, is anyone going to beat Stockton? Can Providence say, all those questions start rising up. Who can stop Stockton now? Originally, it was like Stockton's done. They're toast. And sure enough, man, they are back in it, and they're fighting hard, man. They've got a good defense. Again, every season, defense is the strong point of this team. And you have a guy like Crotch, who I feel is NHL-ready center, Euro, cheap contract, putting up good numbers every season. Say what you want about these guys. They have success season in, season out. There's no other excuse for it. So let's go over some of the wins they picked up. They gave Texas a good old shellacking, 7-1. Hopefully they don't get that 4th seed looking at that game there. Beat Bakersfield 5-1, Toba 5-2, San Antonio 2-1, Grand Rapids 6-1, San Jose 2-1. Big win over San Diego, like you just mentioned, Rebel 6-3, and a 7-1 win over Ontario, ending the streak and their week with a 2-0 loss to Chicago. So that's going to do it for our top 10 power rankings. I guess that's it, guys. That's it. That's the show. Again, as always, love you guys watching. Any shout outs, guys, before we sign off here? Any shout outs?
I'd like to give a shout out to KC26 Lax FR. Linemate all season. I appreciate you putting up with everything that I've put you through, and we appreciate you on Providence, and I appreciate your attitude to the team and your very good jokes.
AC Quidditch, the man. Rebel?
AC Quidditch.
Shout out to Craig, Coach Craig, as I like to call him, because he likes to shit talk me before every game to make sure I play better. Appreciate keeping me around. I don't know if that's so much testament that nobody wanted me or that he actually likes me around. So what's up?
I love Craig. He's one of the best personalities you'll ever meet. Like, he definitely, you got to really know him to not get upset by him. He'll put the knife up to your neck, but he won't cut. He won't cut. He'll make you go. He'll really push the buttons with you. But I love Craig, good guy. Yeah, you know, just I'm gonna give a general shout out to everyone in media. It's been a good season. Lots of good criteria. Listen to me. Lots of good stuff to come out that's been coming out. Waxy doing some of his articles. Notorious working like a madman at some points. Just all around good media stuff. More of it to come. I promise you guys. There's even a bigger event than the nostalgic Access episode, and I am not going to announce it because I don't know when it's coming, but it will come this season. So prepare for more good media, guys. Rebel Garrus, thank you guys for joining us. It's always been a pleasure, and we will see you all around.
You ready? Smashing through the levee.